Only on NBC26. You've seen it all over the news and plastered on social media. Police use of force caught on camera, in some cases over the top, excessive, even fatal, sparking protests and a national push for change. Tonight, in our Scripps NBC26 Focus on Force investigation, we ask, is the use of force on the rise? We'll compare the national trends to the numbers here in Northeast Wisconsin. NBC26's Billy Wagner joins us to break down the numbers and dig deeper into how this region's police departments are tracking when their own officers use force.
Stacy, there's more than one way a police officer can use force, and the definition of when something is considered use of force can vary from one department to the next. Now, in our investigation, we asked 4 of our area's major police departments for their figures, and the numbers don't lie. In most cases, nationally and locally, use of force is on a downward trend. Videos like these, showing officers tackling people, throwing teenagers to the ground, even opening fire on fleeing or unarmed suspects. And Northeast Wisconsin is no exception, with this controversial arrest made by Green Bay police in 2014 caught on camera. Officer Derek Wickland's use of force seen here was eventually deemed appropriate by the State Department of Justice. In response, thousands of people taking to the streets, from Ferguson to Madison, protesting what they call excessive force and police brutality.
They were quite simply assassinated.
And sparking a backlash of violence against police.
Right now, of course, our biggest mission is trying to make sure that we have public confidence and public trust in what the men and women do on the streets every single day.
But the numbers are painting a different picture, one that shows use of force incidents dropping. As part of a nationwide investigation, using data from more than 60 agencies across the country, our Scripps investigative team of reporters dug into use of force records. NBC26 discovered that more than half of the agencies show use of force actually going down, just a quarter with use of force on the rise.
When the public sees the millions and millions and millions of citizen contacts that we have, and that 99% of them no force is used, that's powerful.
But tensions and distrust are still high as new cases continue to flood the airwaves. Amidst the public outcry, a call for reform and more transparency from police when it comes to keeping records of incidents of use of force.
Every agency needs to have a good, solid record of the force that's being used by their officers and review of those situations.
It's just not taking data and compiling it.
Easier said than done, as what is considered use of force and how it's broken down depends on which agency you're asking. For example, if 5 police officers point their guns at a suspect but don't fire their weapons, in some departments each officer would be considered to have used force, adding up to 5 separate cases within one incident where no contact has been made.
Each of these agencies have different information systems, different policies on use of force, and collect information in various ways.
Would I like to see some standardization? Yeah, I think it would be a whole lot simpler to look at the data and understand it.
Of the 60+ agencies Scripps obtained data from, only 25% make it easily accessible to the public. In the cases of Green Bay, Fond du Lac, and Oshkosh police departments, use of force data can be made available through an open records request. In Fond du Lac, police records show from 2013 to 2015, use of force rose slightly in the first 2 years, from 99 to 101 cases, down to a current 71 so far this year. While taser deployment is up since last year, in no instance since at least 2012 have officers discharged their firearms at a person. Oshkosh police records also show a drop in use of force within the same time frame, from 137 incidents in 2013 down to 102 in 2014 and 72 so far in 2015. Oshkosh police did not provide specifics on which types of force were used in each case. Green Bay police report the highest use of force numbers, with 425 instances in 2013, up up to 503 in 2014 and 423 so far this year. It's unclear whether officers counted each instance of force used within an individual case, which would produce higher numbers. All three departments declined an interview.
There's been a sea change in law enforcement.
At Appleton Police Headquarters, Chief Todd Thomas says they're making their use of force figures as accessible as possible by releasing an annual report, breaking their numbers down to the day of the week and putting them on the city's website.
We need to be transparent until it hurts. We truly do.
According to their numbers, 2010 to 2011 saw more than a 25% drop in use of force incidents from 85 to 61. 2013 saw a 10-year low for Appleton PD with 56 instances involving use of force. In 2014, that number rose to 69, but the data also shows 14 of those cases involving police school liaisons, and a rise in cases where students were damaging school property and threatening other students and staff. Instances that Chief Thomas says are now being used as weekly training tools.
Creating distance, creating time, using your dialogue.
Thomas says data is also collected in a way that points out when an officer is using force more often than others.
It triggers it, it red flags it, and it doesn't say he's doing anything wrong, but it notifies us so that we can have a supervisor take a look at those incidents to see if there's a pattern.
Data that is then used to educate the Appleton PD and the public while aiming to build trust between police and the people they serve.
Now, training for police agencies is changing nationwide, with more focus now on de-escalation through words and an increase in crisis intervention training. That means more officers are being trained on how to appropriately handle the sometimes volatile situations that can come when facing a suspect with mental health issues. Billy Wagness, NBC26.